Ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined with the prospect, Nathaniel Wood. So, been out for a little bit, had a little bit of a break, so to speak. You've not been in the octagon choking folks out. I have to say, mate, I know you're fighting your biggest test so far in the UFC, John Dodson. Big name, title contender, and also one of the more lovable guys in the UFC as well, which is one of the things about him. But, man, you've come into the UFC, and all you're doing is choking folks. But before you got in the UFC, you were sparking them all out. It's a weird one, isn't it?
It's weird, mate. I think it's. I was actually having a bit of a debate with my old man about why I'm now all of a sudden submitting everyone, and what the conclusion that I've come to is that in the UFC so far, no one's come forward. They haven't come at me like the guys in Cage Warriors were. So it's kind of meaning that I'm having to chase people, and it makes my shots not as powerful. Whereas if they were walking in on them, I think I'll be getting knockouts. But yeah, people don't realize that I actually started with jiu-jitsu. So, if it goes to the floor, I'm just as comfortable as I am striking.
And you've got the limbs for it, so to speak. You've got the long arms, which are great for like your Darce chokes, your anacondas. They're great. I think that's one of the attributes for example, like Tony Ferguson's a great one. It's a nightmare with Tony Ferguson because he can just slip that on where you wouldn't normally most guys get it. Like I've got little T-Rex arms. They're massive, of course, but I've got T-Rex arms and
the Brad Pickett arms.
Exactly, the Brad Pickett arms. I can't so Darces are a bit of a nightmare sometimes, but for yourself, you can get that through a bit easier because you've got that your longer reach and it helps. So I think that's one of the things people don't realize in the game now. That is a far more stronger kind of attribute to you than people probably realized years ago.
Yeah, I think a lot of people look at height, and I never do. I look at reach. So even when you see the tail of the tape, it will say how tall someone is, but that doesn't mean they've necessarily got the reach advantage. And to me, a reach advantage, if you know how to use your range, which I like to say, I like to think I do, it can make a huge difference. When you're going up against smaller guys.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one on the reach side of things. Some guys just don't know how to use it, which is strange. Like Stefan Struve. How can anyone hit you, mate? I don't know how to hit you. Like no one should be getting close to his chin. Volkov, he does use it good, but then he just slacks off, and you think these guys who are massive, long reaches, and they just can't manage it. And you think, man, if he just had that skill set, like John Jones uses his reach superb. Exactly. Gus as well, to be fair. Gus had great management of reach as well. So there's a handful of guys out there that do and have managed it, but there's some that don't. Like you say, the reach is a big thing. But you're fighting a guy who's not got the same reach, let's say, but he's quick he's bullet fast.
Do you actually know what his do you know what his actual reach is? Because I'm not actually sure. I know he's smaller than me, but I don't know.
His reach is 66.
I think mine was 69. I think when I last saw.
Giggity, yeah, it is 69. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mendo, they're big, bit of quagmire there. Yeah.
My prep so far has been using my range. I'm gonna throw a lot of long shots at him, and fingers crossed I get the knockout this time instead of the submission. But if I have to Darce choke him, then so be it.
Well, he's one of them guys that people don't really finish. No. If you look at he's tough as coffer nails, and he's got a style as well where he's quite evasive from taking too much damage. Peter Yan obviously caused him a lot of problems, but overall, he's just a kind of really experienced guy. When you got the name down on a piece of paper, was it kind of excitement to come into your head? You thought, get in there. This is the name I needed to really push me out there now, because obviously beating someone like that is just a great feather in your cap.
Definitely. I got offered him, when was it? It was about 6 months ago, I think. And at the time I was still injured, so I couldn't take it. And I was gutted because that's a fight that I would love. Obviously he's ranked higher than me. He's been in there with the best there is. He fought Demetrius Johnson twice. He's beaten TJ Dillashaw. And he's definitely a guy that he's got a lot on his CV. So if I can beat him or finish him, be the only guy to finish John Dodson, that obviously puts me up very high in the rankings. I'd like to think that I'd be ranked in the top 10 then, especially if I can finish him.
Yeah.
And then from then on, I'm chasing that gold, and then hopefully get a fight with Triple Cringe.
Well, yeah. Well, he's frustrating to watch outside of the cage. But on the front of the fight, you did mention you'd love to get the win against Dobson, obviously, and then go on to. I saw somebody mention Cody Garbrandt. That's I think like someone like Thomas Almeida, Cody, that their styles of fighting is something that would really click with you. I think that'd be a great stylistic matchup like those kind of opponents. Is it their style that you want, or is it just something about them you think that's the fight I just know I can get a great performance in?
Yeah, for me, it's I want fighters that are coming to fight.
Mm,
Um, I think Cody. I'm a big fan of Cody. You know, I like his
yeah.
fighting style. Obviously, when he put such a performance when he fought Dominic Cruz that time.
Mm,
For me, he comes to fight. He's a fighter as well as an athlete, and that's what I like about it. Obviously, it helps as well that he's a big name. He's ranked higher than me, so if I can go in and beat a guy like that, it does a lot for me. You know,
mm.
there's no point in me fighting guys that no one's heard of. They don't do nothing for your career. So for me, that's a fight that excites me. Um, you know, like you said, someone like Thomas Almeida, although I don't actually know, I haven't heard much from him. Like I don't know if he's still, when was his last fight, or if he's got
I
much
can't
going.
recall off the top of my head now. When you think about it, there's that many fights with every fighter. It's impossible to keep on track of them all.
Yeah, because I looked in the rankings not long ago, and I don't think his name was there. But obviously, I don't put my heart and soul into the rankings anyway. You know,
Mm,
for me, they don't mean much, but it just gives obviously that kind of who's next in line for title shots and stuff.
yes.
So obviously, I would like to work my way up there, and you know, if I can get in that sort of top 5 slot, you know, I think you then kind of you can call the shots and, you know, say I want a title shot. So yeah, you know, any fight the UFC want to give me in London, I'll take it. Even if they offer me someone that no one's heard of, you know, I'll still take it. Or if they go and offer me someone that no one wants to fight, like Peter Yan, I'll take it. So, you know, I'll speak to my manager and hopefully I come out of the fight uninjured and can get straight back into training and straight on that London card.
There is a European invasion, isn't there? Peter Yan, yourself,
Yeah.
Jack Shaw, Brett Johns, a bit of a bantamweight invasion from Europe coming into the UFC rankings. It's quite exciting, isn't it, to see the European kind of scene just taking over there and really taking hold of that bantamweight division.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have it's nice to think that a lot of countries now, you know, it's obviously in the start of the UFC, it was a lot of Americans and Brazilians that
Mm.
were champions. And now you're not seeing that, you know, and you're seeing a lot of different countries that are becoming world champions. And, you know, I'd like to think that the world now is kind of, you know, taking notice of the European guys.
And obviously, we said that you had at start of the interview there, you said you had a little bit of break. You've had the time off. Obviously, training's been key. You know, developing, evolving your skill set, adding things, trying to cancel out the bad habits, potentially putting new ways to kind of build yourself. Outside of the fight game, though, what's been happening with you? What's obviously,
Well,
the kind of publicity, the PR stuff that's hitting you. What's going on with you?
yeah, it's been busy. My social media has been I'd like to say popping off. It's been quite crazy, which I'm surprised by because obviously I thought where I've had a bit of time off, it would have all died down. But, you know, it's been going really well. I've been getting a lot of views on my stories and that sort of stuff, which obviously is nice. It helps. It especially helps with your sponsorships. But after my last fight in March, at the beginning of the year, I took my missus traveling. So we went around the world a little bit. We went and toured Asia, and then we went to Australia. You know, I felt like it was time to have a break, and I wanted to treat her and, you know, get away for a little bit and just relax, switch off a bit from the kind of MMA world, because up until that point, I was on a bit of a tear. You know, in Cage Warriors, I'd fought back to back. I had the Andre Ewell fight in December, then fought 9 weeks later. So it's nice to get away for a little bit. But then when I came back, you know, I was hungry to get back in there, and then I broke my arm. So, you know, that put me out.
Too hungry.
Too hungry. That put me out for 6 months or whatever it's been. So now, you know, I've got a lot of catching up to do and, you know, get my name back in that ranking slot.
But with that time off, you get to see things in your game. I notice it when I get injured, when I go to training, you see the guys rolling or they're doing a sparring or whatever, and you see things and you think, oh yeah, and you go almost coach mode, but you see where you can critique people and maybe you see stuff in yourself that you probably didn't notice before. Did you see that at all yourself when you were obviously on the sidelines, let's say?
I wouldn't say so much physically, like my skill wise, but definitely
Mm.
mentally. You know, it's made me appreciate the sport so much more because, obviously it's my dream job, but when you're training all the time, you know, it can become, as you say, just a job. So,
yeah,
you know, when you have that time off, and obviously I had my arm in a cast and I can't necessarily train very well, it makes you appreciate how much I actually love what I do. And, you know, now that cast is off, I'm back to training. You know, I'm never taking it for granted. And, you know, it brings back that little spark that you need sometimes almost,
yeah,
that hunger. You know, it's always been there, but you do kind of get a bit, what's the word? You're just kind of going through the days as they are. It's a little bit robotic. And, you know, I'd like to say now that it brings back that bit more enjoyment. We've got my coach, Brad Pickett. We've got, he's opened his new fight team, GEB top team. So that's been exciting. You know, we've got a lot of good up and coming guys. So it's been nice to be able to be there for them and not necessarily worry so much about my fight. You know, I could put a little bit more time into the team and stuff and learning new skills and going through stuff with them. So that's been fun. But now, you know, it's all business. And, you know, February 15th, I'm just looking at me knocking John Dodson out.
And look, there's a lot of people who are big on the train with you. They believe in you. They see the potential in you. And obviously, when you're performing the way you are, the stoppages you're putting on, it's hard to really derail it and hard to not believe it and follow it. I'm looking forward to seeing you get back in there. It feels too long. Like you sit there because there's so many events on all the time. You actually sit there and go, actually, when was the last time the final fought? And I went, well, look, bloody, I didn't realize it was that far. And you think, man, it didn't feel that long when you think about it. And then obviously when you look at the dates, I can't wait to see you back in there. And this 2020, it's a nice early fight, like you say, February time. It's an early time of the year, so it gets you a chance to maybe get 3 or 4 fights, injury free, of course, to get 2020 off to the top. Because if you get 3 or 4 wins, that puts you right in the title contention.
Yeah, definitely, and that's why I say I want to fight the guys that are going to put me up there. Obviously, there's a lot of fighters that I could just sit here and for the next 3-4 fights just fight, you know, guys that no one cares about, no one's heard of, and it's not going to push me anywhere. So
yeah,
for me, I want to get those guys that are going to get me that exposure. They're going to get me up in the rankings and, you know, get me paid better.
Yeah, it's all about that money. It is about getting paid better.
It's about that money.
Corey Sanhagen, I tell you what, that'd be a great fight. That's one I think off the top of my head right there. Bang, Corey Sanhagen, that'd be a cracking fight. That one. He's a good, entertaining guy to watch. Before I let you shoot off though, Nathaniel, I need you to give people on your social media firstly, and then obviously give your sponsors that have helped you out, and then obviously you mentioned Brad Pickett, but is anyone else who's helped you out in the camp? And just give them all a bit of props, mate.
Yeah, with me, there's so many that if I miss someone, I apologize. But, you know, I've got to obviously say a huge thank you to my dad, Brad Pickett, Ashley Grimshaw. They're my 3 of my main coaches, which have obviously put so much work into me. My sponsors, again, it's crazy. You know, I've got so many. I've got Moodoo, which is a DNA sampling. So, you know, in a way, I just spit in a cup, I send it off, and they can tell me everything that I need to include in my diet. You know, they've been a massive help to me. My nutritionist, Yanis. I've got my sponsors, TCA. It's a clothing brand. My own clothing brand, Prospect Apparel. That's been good fun, a little project of mine just while I've had some time off. And I'm going to forget people, which is I'm going to get in trouble, but I've got my strength conditioning coach, my boxing coach, the whole team at GB Top Team, my physio, Umar, my osteopath, Neil Patel. Now you started me off, mate. I'm going to be here all day. Horv Watches, you know, they've been looking after me. Gareth, G&J Roof Tech, they've been helping me. And, mate, I'm going to stop there because otherwise I'm going to have you all night. I've got a lot of good people around me. You know, that's what's been a bit of a blessing these last couple of years. You know, I feel like I've finally got the right team of people around me. You know, I've got people who actually care, I feel now. Yeah. Whereas before, you know, I feel like there's a lot of leeches around. You know, a lot of people that are just there just to kind of jump on the bandwagon and
yeah,
you know,
get something for themselves.
Yeah, I feel like I'm surrounded by people that do actually care about me and you know would be there for me whether I win, lose or not. And you know, for that I'm grateful. Oh, and Martin Barrett, you know, he's one of my sponsors. He's opening up GB Top Team with Brad.
Oh, nice.
It's going to be a state-of-the-art gym. We haven't actually got the facility open yet, but you know,
where's that going to be? Where's that going to be based?
It's going to be as local to us as possible. Me and Brad are in Malden, which is South London. So you know, it's going to be hopefully nice and close because I can't be doing 1.5-hour journeys anymore.
It's not easy in London to do travel. Nah, no
Mate,
matter which way you go, mate.
Especially at that rush hour time in the mornings, you know.
Yeah,
you're
there's nothing rushing though. There's nothing rushing in that hour though, mate. That's the problem, isn't it? It's the worst name for something that doesn't move.
It's the worst. I need a London transport sponsorship or something as well because, you know, I'm
private helicopter.
Oh, mate, that'll do.
Just get dropped off the train every morning. You know, just get in a helicopter, off you go. Yeah. Happy days. Beatrice. Look, that's great to hear the backing and the support you get because it is a huge thing as MMA, and people obviously who don't compete won't know the difference it makes to have the sponsors because of how the sport is kind of financially and stuff like that. So it's great to hear backing, man. Your social media.
AJ Wakeford, who you've probably
MMA
seen.
gangster.
Yeah, MMA gangster. He's absolute legend. He's been there with me from the get-go. So, you know, big thank you to him as always. And Scramble, you know, they've been supplying my my grappling wear, you know, my kind of they've been looking after me as well for a very long time now. So, you know, big props to them as well.
Yeah, no, AJ, I'll see him at London when I'm down there as well. He'll be down at London Card, obviously. Matt Bailey as well, then boys, all down. Bailey. Matt with the fist of God that he has, yeah. And I'll be down there having a laugh with them boys. And what was I going to say? Oh, your social media. That's it. What's your social media?
Social media is at The Prospect MMA, and that's on Twitter and Instagram. And then my Facebook is just Nathaniel The Prospect Wood. I think it's like a fan page. I'm not too big on the Facebook one, so. You know,
to exceed the time, I think you can link your Instagram and Facebook up.
Yeah, and again, mate, you know, I said to you earlier about technology. I'm sure it ain't that difficult, but I haven't got a clue how to do it. So, yeah, I need someone to run it for me.
Yeah, you do. You need someone. You need like a PA. That'll do.
That's it. That's it.
That'd be great. Look, Nathaniel, I can't wait to see you back in there. It's been too long, and 2020. Man, I cannot wait to see what happens at the end of this year for you and where you're at, you know, because there's a lot that can be done in this year, mate. And there's a lot of guys that knock down off their pedestals, so to speak.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I'm looking forward to it. I feel like it's going to be a successful year. So, you know, let's get it going.